Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat, and today I'm doing my best backlist books of 2022. So that means books that were published before 2022. And I have 8 that I want to talk about. Numbers 2 through 8 are interchangeable. I've tried to rank them. It's actually impossible. So you can just switch them around ever which way you want. And then number 1 is solidly number 1. So we're going to go through it from 3 rereads, which will be no surprise to anyone, and then get into the 8 best books I read of pre-2022 in 2022. So I'm just going to mention real quick the rereads. This is not shocking to anyone ever. So I reread the Captive Prince trilogy by C.S. Pacat, Captive Prince, Prince's Gambit, King's Rising, and I love these books. I fuck with them. They're one of the only books I've ever given 5 stars. So I was thinking about it, and I've only ever given less than 10 books 5 stars in my whole life, and I haven't given 5 stars in a few years, actually. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that before, but I am a stingy ass bitch when it comes to stars. 4.5 is rare. 5 is like nearly impossible. I should do a video about that sometime soon. Anyway, these were rereads, and obviously I fuck with them and love them. So we're gonna get into the 8 now that were first time reads this year. So number 8 is The Dare by Harley LaRue. This is a non-binary author, which is pretty fucking dope. And also, this story, I was trying to explain it to my sister. It's not a romance, okay? It's like power dynamics of a popular girl who shows up to a party, and it's after high school, and the guy who she used to pick on, and she was the bully, he was kind of the outcast. Now he's like hot as fuck, but still like weird, and he challenges her to a dare, and things get progressively kinkier and sexier as the night goes on. And yeah, if that's your cup of tea, go for it. However, there are a lot of trigger warnings in this, so definitely check it out, including like clowns, which was like interesting. But I couldn't stop thinking about this book for like so long, because something that I don't really love ever is any sort of like group moment. I'm not like a huge fan of that. And there is that element in here, and I like was like down to clown. I think my cough medicine's making me a little loopy, but yeah, so if that sounds interesting to you, this was very hot, spicy, and dark, so yeah. Number 7 was Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. So this is about a collection and assortment of young Latinx women who are kind of discovering themselves and also like fighting against the misogyny and the expectations put upon them by their community. So there's poverty, there's like lack of education, there's lack of like birth control. And when they have a seance at a sleepover, one of them becomes like possessed by this ancient goddess of filth. And things go from there. I couldn't put it down, and also I honestly like loved the possession scenes. I love a good possession scene. I also just really liked the way it was told. Like, it was short and succinct, and I want to read whatever the author puts out next. So if that sounds intriguing to you, fucking go for it. Next is Playing Offside. Oh yeah, all these books are published before 2022, but we're just bopping around all the genres. Most of them are dark in some way. 2 of them are like fluffy-ish. This is a fluffy-ish. So this is Playing Offside by Jax Calder, who is a New Zealand writer. And I read the full series. This is a sports series about rugby, I think. The sports are not the important part. But in this one, there is like an older veteran player who's known kind of as the icy one, stoic, and like kind of a wall of like a player. And then there's like the young upstart who plays his same position, so he's trying to like kind of learn from him, but also maybe usurp him. And he's just a golden retriever of a human. Like, he's just sunshine. And yeah, this is Grumpy X Sunshine, and it has one of my favorite things ever in romance, which is spontaneous public declaration, where like something happens and suddenly like they just burst out of nowhere with how they feel. And that one scene has stuck in my mind all year, and I have reread that scene like a few times because I'm just like, yes, I love it. I love it so much. Because, you know, like when people like keep their feelings so tapped down and then something happens that just like fucking pushes them all the, like Sparta kick, like all the way into like just immediately exploding with like how they feel. Yeah, this one was really good if you like that kind of thing. Oh yeah, it's MM. I don't think I mentioned that. There you go. Okay, next up is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This is a Korean translation by Anton Her. Yeah. And this is a collection of weird, dark, short stories. And I found that as time goes on, I've forgotten a lot of the stories in here, but the ones I didn't forget are haunting. So, like, do with that what you will. But you have to really be into, like, gross body stuff. Like, the first story is one of the ones that I was like, original, also fucking disgusting. So it's like a woman, whenever something sloughs off into the toilet, think of whatever you would put into the toilet, it's making another being that's composed of all those things. Gross. It's like the absolute toilet sludge monster from hell. Yeah, and there were just so many unique stories in here. That's the thing I love about short story collections from a really unique mind. You can just see like different screens that are playing in their brain, and I want to live in there. I want to know what they're thinking. Like, I want to go to a coffee shop with them, people watch, and they just do like, what's it called? A stream of consciousness. Like, just tell me what they're fucking thinking about, because it's probably like kaleidoscope compared to mine. Okay. And then after that, it is Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Ingalls. So this is a surprise that got on this list, because when I first read it, I didn't think that I was gonna love it as much as I did. So it's following a really bored housewife, and she hears on the radio as she's preparing food that like a marine center nearby, one of the lizard men has escaped and is on the loose and extremely dangerous. She looks up from where she's preparing food, and he comes through the screen door and asks if he can hide in her guest room. And she's like, why the fuck not? Sure. So he goes in there, and as it goes on, they start a relationship, like a sexual relationship. And it's also about like her interacting with the community and her being just so freaking bored and washed out at home, and like she has no color left, and like what he is bringing into her life. And the ending was so good. It's not for those people who don't like ambiguous endings, because it is a bit of an ambiguous end. And I read it one way, and I know a lot of people read it a different way, but that's the beauty of like ambiguity, because you can just like think about it a lot. So yeah, I think about it often, and I'm like, that was actually an extremely beautiful, well done, weird, like short story. And it's like a book, but it's a shorter book. And I really, really liked it. If you like the movie Shape of Water, I recommend Mrs. Caliban. Okay, next up is Things Have Gotten Worse by Eric LaRocca, who is also genderqueer, non-binary. And this is bizarre. So it's two women, and one enters a chat room to inquire about an apple peeler. And I thought that this was going to be Chekhov's apple peeler, but it was not, which just intrigued me further. Like, are we going to get another book where the apple peeler comes back? Let me know. And basically, as they're talking, it becomes very apparent that one woman is looking for something. She's looking for something to be added to her life. And when the other woman suggests that they sign a contract, that's basically like a little bit like a DS contract in BDSM, only where the woman will do everything that the other says to kind of regain control or like get some excitement in her life. Things spiral so quickly into bad places. So yeah, this was like so bizarre, but again, I love the ending. I love a weird freaking ending. Like, I really love it. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. I am mad that the apple peeler wasn't like a thing that happened, but I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for that little Easter egg to be put in a future book. All right. Next up we have Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is a stalker romance that has been everywhere, so I don't really think I need to go into it that much. Basically, Book Talk got me with their aesthetic videos, and they weren't wrong. So we follow the main character who, like, he is a bad guy with the heart of gold, and he is stalking this woman that he wants, and things go from there. It's like cat and mouse, and then there's also things going on around them. The reason it's on the list is because it is so memorable. I've read a lot of dark romances, and the thing is that a lot of them just blend together, and I'm like, I get bored of it almost. But this was like really unique. So really unique in that he is the ultimate possessive, like touch her and die type, and I love that, which is so hilarious to my husband because I am the darker one, shocker, and my husband is a golden retriever of a human. So it's just endlessly fascinating to us both that I am so obsessed with like the dark psychopath boys or girls. I love a good psychopath woman book. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about this one. If you love dark romance, read it, but also check the triggers because it does get quite dark. And the second book gets darker. So we are now to my favorite backlist book of 2022, and this is For Real by Alexis Hall. So this is transitioning out of the darkness, and this is actually a BDSM romance that has really interesting dynamics, and I just loved it. It was earnest and like a really breath of fresh air because a lot of BDSM romances, it's like they just tie them up and they're like whip, or like spank, and like the consent is like very questionable. Yeah, so this one was definitely like the creme de la creme. Like this one shits all over all those other ones. So we're following two main characters. So Lawrence is like an older guy who is a sub, like a submissive, and he is really jaded. He had a long-term partner, but they broke up, and so he hasn't been in the scene for a while. He's also like an ER doctor, so he's just like exhausted in general. And his friends are like, you need to get out. Like it's been like a long time. Like let's go out, let's go to a club, and a BDSM club, and let's just like hang out. You don't have to do anything. We're just gonna like chill and vibe with people in our community. So he's like, okay, whatever. So they go, and the group sees someone that they call like, what do they call him? The fetus, because he's so young. He looks like a very young guy coming into the club. And so Lawrence walks up to him and is saying to him like, do you need help? Like, what are you here for? Are you sure you're in the right place? Kind of a little bit thinking like this kid just wandered in here. But actually Toby is 19, and he knows that he is a dominant. So he walks in and he's like, no, I know I'm in the right place. I know that I'm a dominant. And it's so annoying how people are like, you're young, you don't know what you are. But like from a young age, if you know you're submissive, people accept it. But if from a young age you know you're dominant, people are like, you just don't know, like you're too young, blah, 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 blah. He's like, how am I supposed to get experience and become an experienced dom if no one takes me seriously? So Lawrence is like really intrigued and enamored with Toby, and it goes from there. And I just thought that the dynamics between them were so good. So there's an age gap, there's like a bit of like teaching how to, and also like obviously like submission, dominance, power dynamics, and also just like it's so soft but also like sexy, of course, and it's about their relationship and like just character studies of two people who are broken in their own unique ways, but just like they deserve to be together so much. And I loved this. I recommended it to my sister and she loved it. It's just beautiful. It's the best BDSM book I have ever read. But if you're like looking for like whips and chains and like this kind of thing, it's not that kind of thing. But if you're looking for like a really good representation of the community and also just like excellent character work by Alexis Hall, I so highly recommend this. Obviously it's my #1 of the year. Like I said, 2 through 8, they can all be changed around, but this is definitively my best backlist title of 2022. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Let me know what you think down below. What were your best backlist books of the year? I love watching everyone's best books of the year and their worst. Like, I love a good roast, I love a good rant, but I especially love the best books of the year because there's just so many good things to read out there. And I'm so happy to be reading again, and not just romance. So like this year in 2023, I've already read, I think, 8 books, which is amazing for me and for you. So I will see you in another video soon. Lots of love. Bye.